run it off.
That's right.
Jot my
I know. If you have other things you
I didn't have to do that.
I know. You don't have to.
You can earn a living.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, as always, it's a pleasure to be in front of you. This afternoon, we have a presentation on 4 different applications the city's received requesting real estate tax exemptions. You may recall from a prior presentation on the same topic, there are 2 categories. There are those by classification, which the state does for churches, not-for-profits, libraries, and things like that. Then in the yellow box at the bottom of the page is what council has the ability to do, which is to adopt ordinances to designate certain properties of non-profit organizations as exempt from local taxes. We've received 4. They're listed here. The Apostolic Church, the Chrysler Museum, Ecumenical Family Shelter, and the Union Mission Holding Corporation. On the next 4 slides is just a matrix of information on each of these 4 entities. The Chrysler Museum is requesting real estate exemptions for 3 different properties, all on, and I struggle with this every time, so bear with me, Bossavane, which will be used for storage and parking. One of the locations has a structure on it. That's where they'll be using for storage, and the other 2 parcels are clear, and they'll be using for parking. They are a 501c3 charitable organization. All 3 of these properties combined have been assessed at just under $540,000. Based on our current real estate rate of $1.11, the revenue impact or revenue loss to the city would be just under $6,000. A lot of this application and process has to do with legal questions. So the bottom half of this about public benefits, specific donations, reasonable employee compensation, and individual employee benefits are responses that are developed from a legal perspective. The city attorney's office has provided us with information on each of these applications. But as you can see, they do provide a public benefit with significant donations received. They have reasonable employee compensation with no individual employee directly benefiting from the donations. They do not have substantial political activities, and there is an annual alcoholic beverage license.
Where's 1201 1200 Bossavane?
I believe it's across the street from the Chrysler Museum. We can get you a map.
I think it actually, isn't it right there, like where the Unitarian Church is, that street that they're on, like behind Hay Towers?
I don't know.
I think it's in between the glass.
They're paying tax on it now, is this part of the glass thing?
I believe they've just acquired these properties.
Bossavane comes over, it comes over into
Yeah, I think it
West
crosses.
Gifford. It's not in, but it's adjacent to the Chrysler.
I believe it is in close proximity.
I think it's that
It's in
street that,
close proximity. I used to live on Bossavane. I don't know that it's, I don't,
I lived on Bossavane too.
but you know, Bossavane splits as it goes across through different neighborhoods. So.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. There's something they're buying, or they've been paying tax on it, or?
I believe they've just acquired all 3 of these properties.
I don't know where that is. I mean, I'm fine with it.
I mean, Chrysler's us.
Yeah.
Sending them money, they can send back to us.
Next application received was from Ecumenical Family Shelter, Inc. At 22 West 37th Street. They too are a 501c3 charitable organization. Property is currently assessed at just under $204,000. The revenue impact to the city would be the roughly $2,200–$2,300. There is a public benefit with significant donations. They would be using this property for the housing of homeless families. Employee contribution, employee compensation is reasonable. No individual employee receives a direct benefit. They do not have substantial political activities. They do have an annual alcoholic beverage license. The Union Mission Holding Corporation, which is specifically, its purpose is to hold real estate for the Union Mission, is seeking a real estate exemption for the 3 properties listed at the top all along East Virginia Beach Boulevard. They're a 501c2 corporation. Looking at all of the properties listed at the top, the combined assessed value is just under $9.3 million. Again, at our current tax rate of $1.11, the revenue impact or revenue loss would be just over $103,000. They do have significant public benefit, providing.
Was anybody paying that before?
Pardon me?
You know, Darrell, that was paying. Was anybody paying, what, did Virginia Natural Gas own that site?
They were,
They weren't paying taxes, were they? VNG paying?
Public utilities.
Can we,
Yeah, I believe they were.
They were?
they're paying it now. Do any of these people want a refund?
A refund?
No.
Yeah, I mean, they're not ashamed to say, let's go back 5 years, 3 years, or whatever. Okay, we're just talking about from now on.
Yes, going forward. Not after this, but after public hearing and council consideration. They'd be using these various properties for shelters, training, and administration. In the legal review of these properties, there are a variety of them that have qualified and not qualified or unqualified purposes. The tax exemption would only be for those qualified purposes. So while the full assessed value, the revenue impact of the city is not directly related to the entire property, only those aspects that qualify for exemption. Simply said, it looks to the predominant use. And if it's for-profit or a for-profit activity, it does not qualify for tax exemption. Public benefit, significant donations, reasonable employee compensation, no individual benefit for an employee. There are not significant political activities, and there is no annual alcoholic beverage license for these properties. You may also recall that the Union Mission is working to renovate in downtown, which part of that was listed in their application, but that sale is still pending. So it's not here yet. The Norfolk Apostolic Church at 3131 Azalea Garden Road is seeking a real estate tax exemption. They're also a 501c3, like the first and second application shown. The assessed value of this property is just under $56,000 with revenue impact to the city of just under $2,700. It's public benefit and significant donations. They're seeking to use the property for educational and ministry, but also a daycare. Their daycare was reviewed for for-profit status. And because of the market rate with a discount to its membership, it was deemed as being a very small portion of what the property would be used for, and all of the property is would be considered for the real estate tax exemption. There is reasonable employee compensation with no individual benefit for a single employee. There are not significant political activities, and there is no alcoholic beverage license. Those are the 4 applications that the city's received. The next steps to move forward with each of them would be the scheduling of a public hearing, and then council's consideration for the ordinance.
Well, I saw one that concerned me, the homeless, I believe that, what was that?
Ecumenical.
Right. Yeah, the housing for the homeless. Do they need an ABC license?
The ABC license does not preclude them from being eligible for a real estate tax exemption.
No, I understand that, but I'm just, it's,
Wants to know why.
Why are there housing homeless people? Do they need an ABC license?
And don't believe that was specifically addressed in the application or the legal's response, but there is an annual alcohol license.
So they're currently operating somewhere else, or are they
Yes, they have other shelters.
in the city?
Yes, they have current exemptions on.
And from our,
Are they part of the homeless consortium?
The answer.
Sorry, go ahead, Ann.
I was gonna get us, what is, Deborah, how do you feel about these 4 properties?
I don't have a problem with this one because they're already exempt with other properties, one of them being the dwelling place. I don't have a problem with Union Mission, and I don't have a problem with Chrysler Museum. I do have a problem with the Apostolic Church.
That's on Azalea Garden Road?
Yes,
Okay.
it's an old 7-Eleven building that was used by the stop organization as a daycare center. When that was shut down, the church acquired the property, and they have continued with that daycare center, but it's open to the public. They charge market rates. Interior pictures of the building didn't show any kind of religious photos, pictures, books, manuals, nothing that indicated that it was used for church-related purposes. It was all ABCs, books about animals. The children had the mats, the 1, 2, 3 mats on the floor and so forth. So it was, the interior was specifically for daycare, but the church is saying that they use it on Sunday for their children's worship services.
Has anybody been out there on
What's wrong with
Sunday
that?
to
Pardon?
verify that?
Well, I mean,
No, we have not been there on a Sunday to verify that. We just have the pictures of the interior to,
So where are the rest of their services held?
they have a church across the street, and then they have a community hall next to this particular building, and then they have an open lot behind that.
So they're saying that they send children across the street to this facility for like children's church on Sunday?
That's what they're saying, yes. But we have not verified that. My staff goes to church on Sunday, so we haven't.
The same church that had the lot in the back on Azalea Garden Road,
Yes,
Yeah.
it is?
yes.
We've kind of made an exception on that, I think. You might want to look at that.
I certainly don't have any problem with a church running a daycare center that does, where they don't preach and that still, I mean, I don't know why that would be objectionable. If you were bringing children in from all over the neighborhood to a daycare center, that the church was still running. When you say market rate, I mean, most of the churches, I mean, they'll charge a fee, and most of them are kind of market rate stuff. It's not like they get a lot of money for childcare. I mean, I don't know.
Well, we had childcare services that are housed in churches that aren't necessarily connected to the church, as far as like religious. So are they taxed? Do you see what I mean? Like if somebody rented the space at a
That's the
church,
owner of the real estate.
so who's,
If we know that they're renting square footage within a church to a for-profit daycare center, we take that square footage out of the exemption and we tax it.
Okay.
can I just very quickly ask, now that we've looked up the Chrysler Museum property, that property is over in West Kent. So explain to me what that is. It's parking? Why do they need parking over in Chelsea area?
The application indicates that they're going to use the structure for storage of artwork and that the 2 lots will be used for parking.
Right, but I was just asking what the parking was.
Maybe the employees that are working on that. That's the only thing I don't know why they need ABC. But maybe that goes with the parent. Maybe the ABC goes with the parent company. I don't think it goes with the property necessarily. Okay.
I would like to have a little more information.
We'll pull that together.
I've been part of Cooper Vision or
Yeah.
I think a larger discussion needs to be had about what you brought up, whether it be churches. I know we've talked about it as relates to other entities, whether it be on state, federal grounds, as it relates to folk renting from nonprofits or what have you, whether or not we should be receiving revenue from them. But I mean, if you're gonna be a daycare, like, I mean,
Or even a
two
preschool.
folk, or preschool, I mean, you shouldn't hide under the auspice of being a church, which clearly these folk are saying that they are, you know, if you're a daycare, be a daycare. But I think we have to strike a balance because there are daycares out there that are paying taxes. And then we deal with these that don't want to pay taxes. It's a disadvantage to the properties that are doing the right thing in the city. So I just think that that's a discussion that we need to have.
Okay, anything further? Good. All right, let's do it. Stand adjourned.
We don't meet again until the 22nd, is that right?
Right.
Yes.